Good evening and Jai Hind children. I welcome you all in today's live class of chemistry. Children, now today I'm going to revise the chapter Weather, Climate and Adaptations. Alright. So, in this chapter, one by one, we will discuss the three topics. The first one about weather, second one about climate, and the third one about the adaptations. So, come to the children first, that is weather. You must have seen the weather report which is given in newspaper, is it? And in that weather report, certain parameters are given like maximum and minimum temperature, moonrise, moonset, sunrise, sunset, and also the maximum and minimum humidity. Is it children? So these all are the different parameters on which the weather of a place is decided. So we can say that the day-to-day conditions of the atmosphere at a place with regards to factors like temperature, humidity, rainfall, speed up and direction of the wind, etc. is called the weather of that place. Alright. And the factors like temperature, humidity, etc. They all are called the elements of weather. Okay. So, what are the elements of weather? The first element is temperature. Okay. The maximum temperature of the day at a given place that occurs normally in the afternoon. And as the earth gets heated by the sun, at night, sun rays do not fall at that place and so it cools down. And the minimum temperature occurs early in the morning. And you already know that the temperature is measured by a thermometer. And the maximum and minimum temperature are measured by the special kind of thermometer which is known as maximum and minimum thermometers. Get it? Children, in our country, the highest temperatures recorded during summers at several places in the plains of north and in northwest that rise above 40 degrees Celsius. Alright. So the temperature is first element of weather. Second element is humidity. Alright. The humidity is measured by an instrument which is called hygrometer. Alright. And the rainfall is another element. And this rainfall is measured another instrument which is called rain gauge. Get it? So, the greater the humidity, more are the chances of rain. And the rainfall, which is measured by rain gauge, in our country, the rain is mainly brought by two kinds of humidity. That first is, yes, southwest monsoon, which is from June to September. It brings heavy rain to most parts of the country. And the second one is northeast monsoon. And the time period is November to March. And it brings relatively lighter rain. All right, children. Now, the next element of weather is winds. During the southwest monsoon period, the humidity-laden winds from the Indian Ocean and Bay of Bengal, they bring rain to India. And during winters, when the winds blow from the mountains of North India towards the northern plains. The plains become very cold, and during summer, the winds blow from the hot desert of Rajasthan towards Delhi, and Delhi becomes very hot. Get it? So, children, these are the four important elements of weather who determine the weather condition of a place. Get it? Now, children, you also have seen about the weather forecasting. So, weather forecasting is actually the predicting the weather. And the scientists who study and predict the weather are known as meteorologists. And they predict weather by studying the patterns in weather and the several factors that affect weather. So, weather is a very complex phenomenon and it is affected by hundreds of factors and is not easy to predict, children. That is why the predictions sometimes go wrong. Okay? Children, there is a fact that you must have to know that why are cloudy nights warmer than clear nights? So, the answer is when the sky is clear at night, there is no cloud cover to prevent the heat radiating from Earth to escape. And as the heat from the Earth escapes, the Earth cools down. And when there are clouds at night, they do not allow the heat radiating from the Earth to escape. So the Earth remains warm. Okay, that is why the cloudy nights are warmer than clear nights. Get it? Okay. So this one is all about weather. Now come to the second topic of the chapter, that is climate. Now, children, the weather pattern of a place can be seen from the weather records of the past several years, and the average weather pattern of a place taken over a long time, say that 25 years, it is called the climate of that place. Okay, so what is climate? Yes, the climate is the average weather pattern of a place which is taken over a long time, about 25 years, and that is called the climate of that place. And the different places in the world have different types of climate. Alright? And the factors which determines the climate of a place are, the first one is distance from the equator. Distance from the equator, I can see that latitude. So this is one of the factor which determine the climate of a place. Second factor is height above sea level. Correct. So this one is the second factor who determine the climate of a place. As the higher you will go, the cooler it becomes. And as the nearer you will go from sea level, it will be warmer. Okay. Now the third factor is the distance from the sea. Alright, distance from the sea or from high mountain ranges. So this one is the third factor who determine the, yes, climate of a place. And generally the places which are near to the sea have a moderate climate, that is neither very hot nor very cold. And the mountains, it affects the wind and rainfall and hence affect the climate also. Get it? Now, the fourth factor is wind. Correct. So the climate depends on weather winds, that is hot or cold, humid or dry. Okay, so that will also determine the climate of that place. And the fifth factor is the amount of moisture or humidity in the air. So this is the fifth factor, that amount of moisture or humidity in the air that also determine the climate of a place. Get it? If the moisture or humidity will be more, so the climate will be more humid. It is wet. And if the moisture is less, so the climate will be hot and dry. Get it? So, children, these are the factors which determine the climate of a place. And now let us take few examples. See that what does the weather pattern of these places tell us. So the first is the weather patterns tell us that it is cold in Darjeeling for most part of the year. Therefore, we say that the climate in Darjeeling is cold. And in general, the climate in the mountainous area of North India is cold. Get it? And the second example is Northeast India that receives rain for a major part of the year. So we say that the climate in Northeast India is wet. Next example, it is warm and humid throughout the year in Chennai. Therefore, the climate in Chennai is warm and humid. And the climate in Kerala is hot and wet. Alright. And the next example, in the desert region in Rajasthan, for example in Bikaner, it is hot for most part of the year and it does become cold in winter, which does not last for long, and there is very little rainfall, and this hot and dry climate is typical for desert areas. Get it? So these are some of the example of the climate of different parts of our country. Get it? Now, children, the climate, it's get affected by the sun. Okay, so what effect of the sun is there on the climate? We will discuss it also. So, the effect of sun on climate. Children, the earth gets heated by the rays of the sun which falling on it. And near the equator, the rays falls vertically as the latitude, which means the distance of a place from the equator. Is it? You must have studied about the latitude. That is the distance of a place from the equator. So as the latitude increases, the rays becomes more and more slanting, and the slanting rays spread over a large area, a large land area than vertical rays, and also they pass through a thicker layer of the atmosphere which absorbs a larger part of their heat. This means that the land near the equator gets heated up more by sun than the land away from it in a given time. Alright? And also, the days are longer near the equator than at the places away from it. Because, yes, the sun rises early and sets late near the equator, and this also causes land near the equator to get heated up more than land away from it as it receives sunlight for more time. An interesting fact is that at the poles there is 6 months of day and 6 months of night, and the sun remains barely above the horizon during the 6 months day, and that is why it is so cold at the poles. Okay, children, understood? Yes. So this is the effect of the sun on climate. Alright, children, one more thing that you must have to know. In the northern hemisphere, the longest day, that is the duration between sunrise and sunset, is usually 21st June, and the shortest day is usually 22nd December. Okay, so you must have to remember it. The longest day is 21st June and the shortest day is, yes, 22 September. Sorry, it's December. Alright? So, this one is about the, yes, the climate of a place. Now come to the third part of the chapter, children. That is adaptation. So here in this part we will discuss about the climate and adaptation together. Okay? Climate and adaptations. Children, you know that the animals are the living organisms which are found in different climates. They get adopted, okay, to survive in such type of climate. So here we will discuss one by one the adaptations of climates. Okay, so the climate of a place that affects the plants, animals, and people living there in many ways. And the most difficult climates are extreme heat and extreme cold. And the animals can survive in almost all climates because they have many ways to adopting extreme temperatures. Okay, so take the first example, that is adaptations to cold climates. Children, you have seen that it is very cold in polar regions. And in winters, the temperature can drop to as low as minus 37 degrees Celsius. And the animals such as seals, polar bears, etc., are able to live under such extreme cold as they are adopted to it. Okay, so just see that what are the different adaptations found in these animals one by one. So the first animal is the polar bear. The bodies of polar bears and several other animals living in very cold conditions are covered with dense fine fur and that traps air. Get it? And it acts as a insulating layer because this fur, which is an insulator of heat and protect them from cold. So these dense fur on the body protect them from the cold and keep them warm. Polar bears have two thick layers of fur as well as a layer of fat under the skin. Alright, so these all together provide excellent insulation. So much so that the polar bear has to move slowly. Otherwise, yes, the heat generated during physical activities can make it overheated. And when it does become overheated due to physical activities, the polar bear goes for swimming in the water to cool off. Its white and large paws help it to swim, and it can close its nostril and remains underwater for long durations. Get it? So children, this is some of the adaptations which are found in polar bears, by which it can live easily in extreme cold conditions of poles. Alright. And it is interesting to note that the polar bear has white fur, which camouflages it with the white snow and makes it difficult to be seen. So, this protects the polar bear against predators and also helps it to catch prey. Alright, so these all, that is presence of fine fur on the skin, thick layer of fat under the skin, and also, yes, move slowly to release the less body heat, and yes, that white color of fur which camouflages it with white snow. So these all are the adaptations which are found in polar bears. Get it? Now the another animal is penguins. They're also found in such areas in polar regions. So the penguins are found in the polar regions and they have similar adaptations as the polar bear. Their white color helps them to camouflage with snow, and their feathers are thick skin and fat under the skin. They all provide insulation, okay, against the cold, and they huddle together when it is very cold. So this keeps them warm. And the penguins are also good swimmers, so they have streamlined bodies and webbed feet that help them in swimming. So these all are the adaptations found in penguins, that is, yes, the white color that by which they can camouflage with white snow, and presence of feather on the skin, the thick skin, and the fat under the skin. So they all protect them from cold, and they also huddle together. Children, huddle together means they moving in group together. Okay, either in left or right. So because of this huddling together, what happened? It protect them from cold. Alright? And they are also the good swimmers. So these all are the adaptations found in penguins. Now, the next one is the birds. The birds which are found in cold climates, they also get adopted. So the birds use their feathers to protect their bodies from the cold. And however, this protection is not enough for the extreme winter in polar regions. So to escape the cold, they migrate to warmer regions during winters. And many of them come to India, and in winter, you can see the migratory birds in the Bharatpur and Sultanpur bird sanctuaries in India. And these birds go back to Siberia in the polar regions after winter is over. Get it? So, what adaptations birds have? They have, yes, feathers on their bodies, and they migrate in winter season to the warmer regions and again comes back in, yes, when the winter over. Alright. Now the another animal is seal. So the seals have a thick deposition of fat that is called blubber. Alright. So the blubber that protects them from the cold. So what is blubber, children? It is a thick deposition of fat. And a few other ways in which animals reduce heat loss are that first one. The reptiles keep their body warm by absorbing solar radiations during the daytime. And at night, they seek shelter to keep warm. And however, this is not possible in the polar region, and therefore, hardly any reptiles are found in these regions. Okay, so you can say that in cold climates, reptiles are not generally found because of the same reason. Because they, yes, cannot release the body heat. And the next one is the body parts such as ears, tails, and the legs. They lose heat first, and hence animals in cold climates have small ears and tails and short legs. Get it? And the third one is that the way to reduce heat loss is to reduce body activity. So some mammals they hibernate during the winter months to reduce the loss of heat. Get it? So because of these all adaptations, the animals are able to survive in cold climate. They get adapted to survive in cold climate. Alright children? Now come to the adaptations of the animals to hot climates. Adaptations to hot climates like deserts. Yes. Many ways by which the animals keep themselves cool in extreme hot climate are like the first one, the animals living in hot climates such as snakes and desert fox. They spend the daylight hours hiding in shady places such as burrows or behind the boulders, and they come out at night to look for food, and that is why they are called nocturnal animals. A little in what they are called? They are called nocturnal. Nocturnal animals because yes, they come out for food at night. Get it? Now, the second adaptation is they have long legs and tails and very large ears. So, the ears have blood vessels near the surface, and the air blowing across the ears cools the blood, which in turn cools the body. And notice the large ears of a fennec fox that lives in the desert. Is it? Have you noticed? Yes, this fox have large ears so that it can cool itself in such conditions. Okay. Now the third adaptation is the animals sweat, pant, and lick to cool themselves, and the sweat or the saliva evaporates to cool their bodies. But these methods are not good if water is scarce. For example, in desert, because these methods also promote water loss. Get it? Children, you must have studied in your previous class that the camel is well adapted to living in a desert, and it has several adaptations for life in the desert. Is it? And it has a hump where fat is stored, and this provides a food in times of food shortage. It sweats very little, and this helps it to yes conserve water, and it excretes very little water in the form of urine. Alright, and its feet have large soles and are suitable for walking on soft sand. So these all are the adaptations found in camel, which is an yes animal found in deserts. Get it, children? So these all adaptations are found in the animals in hot climate or desert climate. Now come to the next, third, that adaptations to hot and wet climates. Adaptations to hot and wet climates like tropical rainforests. Alright, so the tropical regions are located near the equator and they have hot and wet climate. Since this kind of climate supports plant growth And the tropical regions are full of dense rainforests. And the rainforest supports a large variety of animals. And this is because of the warm climate, the constant supply of water, and availability of a wide variety of food. But their large number also means intense competition for food and shelter. Get it? So the animals which are found in such climates adopted in different ways. So the first one, many animals in rainforest are adopted to living on trees because the trees give them shelter, hiding places from predators, and also supply them with food. Okay? The monkeys, which use their hands and feet and also their tails to swing from branches to branches. The red-eyed tree frog, which lives on trees and has sticky pads on its feet that help it to climb trees. The lion-tailed macaw, which is also known as beard ape, is a good climber and lives on trees. It gets all the food it needs on trees and hardly ever comes down. And it mainly eats fruits as well as other plant parts. It also catches insects from under the bark of trees. Get it? So this is one of the adaptation found in some of the animals of such climate. Second adaptation is that some animals eat food that is, yes, eaten by no other animals. For example, the toucan. It uses its long, large bill to reach the fruits on weak branches that cannot bear its weight on the weight of other animals. Get it? The third adaptation that several animals have a skin color that camouflage them with the background. For example, the jaguar has a spotted skin and it merges well with the speckled shadows of the rainforest floor and making it difficult to be seen, and this helps it in hunting. Get it? The next example, that the elephant, which is well adapted to living in rainforest because it has a strong sense of smell because it uses its long trunk as a nose. It uses its trunk to pull down fruits and leaves to eat. It uses its tusks to tear the barks from trees, which it eats, and it uses its long ears to, yes, hear even soft sound and also to cool itself in hot and humid climate. A little then. So these all are the adaptations that are found in different kind of animals of tropical rainforest. So they adapted well to survive in such areas or in such type of climate. Alright. So you can say that the animals which are found in different climates, they adapted to live in that kind of climate. Okay, so this one is all about the revision of the chapter weather, climate, and adaptation. And I hope that you understood these all topics of the chapter. Thank you and have a nice day.